So today I'm going to be putting together a piece from analog piece from one of my bags, and here's the bag of images to be cut up, and this is one where I'd start from some books I'd had for a while. So actually, with this piece, I originally had the idea of this picture of a crab nebula as a sky, possibly, and then I changed my mind because I found actually a better piece to replace this here and have as a sky. So so that actually what I was going to do with that crab nebula piece is actually going to be in the sky of another piece. So I've got two collages out of one, which is really good. So let's get this open and see what we've got to work with. This one actually I don't have to remember much because I actually gathered a lot of the some of the bits today, but I still like to write notes so that just in case I don't get to do it today or I just forget at the time that can happen. So I've written here man with a gun. You'll see that later. That's to be going above there. So this is the main part of this here, and I have here that's what I was saying about the man with the gun. He is going to be going above their shoulders here. He's bigger than them, but that's a bit of part of the point, and it adds a bit of unrealism to it. This thermometer is going to go in the basket, this woman's basket here on the right, and I didn't actually write it down here, but I'm possibly going to put this tiger coming out from between their shoulders, and the sky is going to be this space station here. It's going to be cut off at this point because it works quite well there, and that space shuttle can be used for something else. So now we've gathered all this together, let's cut this up, shall we? Hello, so we're going to cut this up. Firstly, also I apologise for the sniffing, I have a cold. So first, let's get rid of this bit. So it shouldn't take too long to cut out this bit here. So yeah, so today actually when I was preparing for this, I started looking through that book. I ended up with like about looking at some of the bits, and I just pages in there, and I just ended up with a whole load of ideas for pieces of artwork, which is good. It's always good when that happens. I'd rather be too busy than not. Let's put this to one side. Let's see what I can do about these white bits here in the trees, in between the leaves. I can have them, but I'd rather not. So let's get rid of this bit here. Round this off. And I can see where I've cut not quite to the blue of the sky, so I shall lose that, even though it's not going to be a blue sky up to the point where they've got the space station, but so you lose a bit of realism there. But then how many times do you have a whacking great space station in the sky? So you can suspend disbelief a little. So this was going to be part of another piece, but thankfully that piece gone by the wayside, because this I think will work well with what I want to do. And judging by the text that's down here, this is because that's Jean-Paul Sartre, and this is apparently a scene from one of his plays. I don't know which one. I don't know really of any of his stuff. So get this out of the way. And something I'm actually going to do here is also I'm going to have, I shall get this ready for it, at the bottom where they're sifting through is some of this text. But I want it to be torn like that. Didn't tear as straight as I'd like, but what can you do? That's the randomness of it all. So that's the man cut out. Here is the thermometer. I apologise if it seems like I'm speed running this, but sometimes these things can just be done this quickly. Especially when I'm cutting straight lines like this, and this piece isn't that intricate. So I shall just lop out this bit of the tiger, and then I can, that turtle can still be kept, and this bit of the tornado. So the fact that this didn't tear straight actually probably works well for me. That tornado picture is actually pretty good on second thoughts. And the fact that it's torn can actually be well used for a piece. So as always with these things, I like to have a title in mind by the end, and I actually have one now, which is good, which is again what I will reveal at the end of the piece. No, I'm not going to cut out any more, because why make more work for yourself than you're going to need to? The only bits you're going to see are tiger's shoulders anyway. So that's all cut apart from this here, but that's going to be like that. What I'm going to do, it's going to come to the end. Oops, drop something here. Just trim this off so I haven't got it hanging around, and it can go back in the book it came from. This was, most of these bits actually came from, I had a book where I just ended up gathering up a lot of spare bits, and this is where these all came from. So some bits were from different books, some were from the same. So let's see where's it going to go with her hands. So I'm only going to really have to cut her hands out, so I'll do that now. Sometimes it's good to gather, like I say, gather these odds and sods together in a single book, so then you can look at these things and you can see patterns emerge, or you can challenge yourself, see what can I do with these pieces that are together, because this is like a very maverick and quite, dare I say, revolutionary or iconoclastic form of artwork. So we can make our own rules and do what we please. So right, that's that cut off there. So next I'm going to glue all this together. Okay, so I have my trusty gluing board, which is the back of this book about Jesus. It's because the TV one had become too gunked up, because I'd used some hot melt glue for another project, and that was on there, so I didn't want to have all the lumps of hot melt glue damaging what I'm gluing for here. And any glue that's on here, since Pritt stick can actually be wiped off and washed off to an extent, so Let's see how well I can get this in here like this. Now, it doesn't matter the actual text that's being used. At least that's not important to the message I'm making here. So what I'm going to do here, though, is stick this on the back. Sorry for my comments seem quite random, just explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. That way it stops any of these bits moving about too much, or at all. Yeah, I was saying the text itself doesn't matter, it's just the fact that they're sifting through text is the important thing. So, in fact, there's a bit of a green here, so I'm going to try to delicately surgically remove that. That's that gone. Now next we should be putting this guy behind here, so I should have cut this beforehand actually. This is what some people don't see or realise, you know, the types that say anybody could do collage, it's just for kids. If you're just randomly sticking bits on top of each other, you could say yes. But this takes a lot of planning and forethought, and a lot more delicate cutting than that some people would think. So let's loosen things up a little bit more. Let's stick out a bit more so it's obvious he's holding a gun, because that's a bit of part of the point. So let's glue him. And glue these ladies here. Some coming out there, but what I shall do is I shall just stick that down there so it doesn't move about, and because this isn't going to go down, the background's not going to go down very much. In the old days I would have put sellotape back there, and I've actually done a video recently where I've digitally repaired a piece where I'd done that. It wouldn't be so much of an issue in this because this paper's quite thick, but with thinner paper, as time goes by, the adhesive from that sellotape will seep through and kind of ruin your piece. So what I've done is I've done a video where I cleared that up somewhat. It was against like a yellow stone, a grey stone, so it kind of yellowed a bit and oranged out a bit. So it did kind of look a bit like, the coloration of it did look a bit like weathering, so that's why I kept some bits of it. You'll have seen that video by this point, because I've already recorded it, and I've recorded my videos about 2 months in advance, some of these. So just in case there's times where I'm not able to sit down and record something, I've got things that are ready to go. So you'll have seen my reasoning behind why I did all these things. And next is the thermometer. Also, make careless cutting there, so I don't want the green line. See just the basket. So I'll cut along here and across this rope a bit here, but not too much, because I don't want it to be too incredulous that this you wouldn't see it behind there. That's a lot more work than the piece needs to actually just cut that little bit of rope out there and, you know, slot it under there. In fact, I could try a little, because it's not that delicate. So what I will do here now, I'll cut this a little bit, I will fold it up and back so that once I put this in through, it's in there, so you can see it, the thermometer coming out behind the rope a little, this little bit here, and I'll get folded back in place. There we go, and I'll patch a little bit over it so it stays in place. That's there, and now it's the last bit to put glue on, is the background, the bit that really kind of breaks reality. As you see, my gluing board's getting a bit gunked up, so I'm going to have to give this a clean, because even though I do have my cutting board's getting a bit gunked up, I have to give it a clean, because even though I do have a gluing board, you're going to get glue on it, on the cutting board, no matter what. It's just one of those things. And what I've done is, I haven't made a perfect job of it, but I've tried to use this line here as a guide, and I haven't really got it all the way to the end here. So I could try and get it straight. There we go. And I'm just going to lose this bit here once I trim it. But this way, hopefully, it should remain straight when I go to scan, because this is a little bit above this will be a little bit taller than A4. I could have put this further down here, but it's I don't want to lose too much of the space station. So here we have the almost finished piece. It just needs to be signed and titled and then trimmed. So let's see where I'm going to sign this thing. I'll do it here. And I shall call this Crisis Mode. So here you've got sifting through information. You've got people sifting through information. You have here danger coming at you, someone facing an existential crisis, all that kind of and this space station is looming. That could be a potential threat. The fact that it's NASA has nothing to do with it, so conspiracy theorists can be quiet on that one. So let's trim all this down. So if I against there like that, and again use the paper as a guide. I mean, obviously a guillotine would do this way straighter and with a lot less fuss in some regards to what I'm doing here than to what I'm doing here. However, the glue's not completely dry, and rather than an easily disposable scalpel blade than the guillotine blade, because I have no idea how easy those things are to clean and replace. So if anybody uses them, please let me know. Nice to hear that kind of stuff in the comments. So here's the piece. I hope you can see it all, because it is a slightly bigger one. So here it is. It's a bit more like one of my previous style of pieces of the less political, but it's saying something. So if I do put this in the book, and I might well do, I've got two. There are among the headers I've got the sections I've got. One's called Keep It Weird, and one's called Something to Say. This is one of those ones where I'm really gonna have to think about whether it goes in the Something to Say or the Keep It Weird, because it is weird, but it has something to say. So I have to. There are going to be a whole bunch of pieces that I'm going to look at, and it's going to say, well, which direction. I'm going to have to create for myself a line of which is and which direction the meter goes of percentage of weird or something to say. Because even the weird ones usually they're not most over 90% of them are not there for pretty decoration or just weird decoration. They're there to say something, or at least they say something to someone. So I'd have to probably judge it also by the title as well. But because whether they more overtly say something. So this is going to be one of those ones where it's going to be a bit tricky. So to decide where I'm going to put that. If anybody has any ideas about where this could go, please let me know. So because I will still be, no doubt, it's taking a while to go. I've scanned everything in that I've made so far, but I keep on making stuff. So this, and I'm reasonably certain I'm going to put this one in. So let me know what you think, where you think this where it should go. To Keep It Weird or Something to Say. And like, share, and subscribe. In my description has my link tree, which has my merch links on my socials. And I shall speak to you soon. Thank you.